Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of the Dare to Rest podcast. I'm excited for this one. I always am, but the woman who is with me today, she has a very special place in my heart. And what I just shared with her before we jumped on here was I'm actually feeling a little nervous today. And that's just beautiful because then we know there's something huge coming. So this is not a solo episode. I hope you're not surprised by that. I am joined by the gorgeous, fabulous Diana Skander. And would you please just come on here, love, and say hi to everyone and tell them who you are?
Hello. Well, first of all, I just really want to say, wow, you're one of the only people who gets my last name right on the first try. You are winning. So I will just start with a brief intro. I mean, I'm always like, who am I? I'm changing every day. So, relationship expert, founder of the School of Love, leader of a global movement of women, She Who Receives, and really I want to say a guide for women around the world to really step into receivership in their lives, in their relationships, in their relationship with their partners, with life, with the universe, with themselves, like allowing ourselves to actually be she who receives and relax into receivership. And I've had the honor of doing this over the last decade with thousands of women at this point, and it's been the ride of my life. I'm also a wife and mother to two gorgeous humans. So lots of blessings over here.
Less of all the things. I absolutely adore that. And I just want to say here as also, because this is so interesting to me. You are another one of those wonderful humans that I've met online. Like, can we just appreciate how amazing it is that we on the online community can meet these people where we just click. I knew it the first time I saw you. Like, I think it was a year ago. I'm like, this woman and we're going to do something together. I don't know what, I don't know when. And when we started having that convo earlier this year, you were like, yes, I feel it too. And
Yeah,
maybe it's because we both turned 40 this year. We both
yes.
have our birthdays on the 17th. So there's some numbers that really hit us, of course, but there's something here. And this really is a permission slip to anyone out there who engages in the online community spaces to just reach out to the other people on the other end that feels interesting to you. There are so many amazing friendships online that, yeah, we get to explore. It's
And then we got to meet in person, which just like sealed the deal.
exactly, that's an extra bonus. But we're not just here to talk about
No.
beauty and how we're the same and what we do. We're actually here because I think you have a very interesting perspective on how we use our voice and the fact that we can use our voice and really speak from, at least as women, as from three different centers in our body. So would you just please, no, I actually want to start another place. How did you discover this? How did you discover that
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
speak from multiple
I love that
places?
question. I love that question. It was really one time in my relationship with my husband having this awareness. It was almost like I could step outside of my body. I'm sure you can relate to this to some degree. And I was observing myself communicating with him, and I was like, it's not very attractive. Like that is that look like that sounds it sounds whiny.
Hmm.
It sounds immature.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel grounded, and like how is he supposed to quite literally how is he supposed to respond to this? And it had this sort of ungrounded little girl energy to it, and I was really fascinated by even like being able to observe this in myself and really have that awareness. And so I went on this journey of like what would happen. So I'm noticing that voice sounds like it's kind of in my head, and I did do vocal training when I was younger, so I understood like the difference between where you placed your voice to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
And always there were some voices that I wanted to bring up to the top of my forehead, but then other voices that I wanted to drop deep into my solar plexus, and we'll get to that in a minute. So I was observing this, and I said, maybe I could practice shifting my voice and the feeling of how I'm speaking to him. And it would be really interesting to start to relay that to my clients. And so at the time, I had a group called the Inner Circle, which is now She Who Receives. And I was sharing with them in real time, like, this is what I'm practicing. And I was practicing dropping my voice from my head, which sounded quite whiny, to my heart. I was like, oh, this is really something. Like, this is quite profound. And the way my husband was responding to that was really different. It was like he could hear me better. He could be more comfortable and relax and sit into whatever it was I was sharing, especially if it was something more challenging. And then, so let's say that was probably 3 years ago. And then it was earlier this year and start of end of last, or towards the end of last year, where I really started to go deeper into my womb and my womb journey.
Mm, nice.
And then I was engaged to speak at a few events earlier this year. And I started to practice through a kirtan kriya practice, which is like a kundalini practice. I started to practice actually dropping my voice into my sacral and practicing speaking my message from a deeper place in my body. And even though the heart was so powerful, it felt like when I dropped it even deeper, all of a sudden my message was felt more deeply.
Mm-hmm.
And I was practicing it online, practicing it in my master classes. I delivered one of my most powerful master classes with a yoni egg inserted into my body.
Yes.
And it was like the resonance was on a whole other level.
And I think really that captures the beauty of it, because I completely also understand the fact that if you have like high tunes and high pitches, you take them up and the deeper goes down. But I think what you're doing is actually different, because what you're saying is that you can take any tune and speak it from one of those three centers in your body. And let's just tell everyone what those centers are. So it's
Yes.
from your
Yeah.
mind, it's from
Yeah.
your heart, it's from your womb. And we're gonna cover the male communication as well, but let's just take the
Yeah.
first. That's the three centers. So tell me about it. Where do we as women normally communicate from
I would say as humans,
as humans?
as humans, we are communicating from our heads 95% of the time. And you can even take a moment, right? I'm just throwing out a random number. I just said 95, but it's like it's the majority of the time, right? And you could even take a moment to practice right now saying anything. Like, choose anything you want to say. I will just say the words that are coming to me. I'm just thinking of like the context of speaking to a woman who wants to tell her partner she needs him. And you could say like, I need you. And you can literally feel the vibration coming from your head.
Yeah, and you can hear that a little bit of a whiny
A
tune,
whine.
which stimulates to that little girl, like, "Daddy, I want this and this."
Exactly. It's totally, it's just, it's this like, it's this disembodied energy, right? And then you can drop it down into the heart and you can literally place your hands on your heart and potentially even feel the vibration coming from there. It's like, I need you. And then we're going to drop it down a little deeper. And I'm placing my hands on my womb. And if you don't have a womb, just the space beneath your belly button. I need you.
And
I
it's
need
so
you.
different.
It's so different. And so imagine being the person on the other side and I'm looking my partner in the eyes and my hands might even be on that space of my body and I say, I need you. It's like, oh, how can he say no? How can he ignore that?
Yeah. And this is not it's not a manipulation tactic. It really is because the profound understanding is that there's an energy to everything we emanate. And depending on what we emanate, what energy we emanate, we awaken something in the other person. So if we
Exactly.
have that whiny energy, we
Yes,
call for the savior, the mother, the father, the something in them. And what then happens
exactly.
when I speak from my heart? What do I invoke in him?
Yeah, actually, I would love to get even more specific there because if we look at
Sure.
tantra, let's say it's like the poles, right? The positive pole in the woman is coming from her heart and the negative is in the man's heart, right? So actually there is still so much power to share from my heart. But what we need to understand is that when I'm sharing from my heart, I'm more giving. I'm giving to him in many ways, right? Because it's the positive going in, and his heart is his receiving pole.
Mm-hmm.
And we drop it down, the woman's womb is her receiving pole, is the negative pole, and the man's lingam, right, is his positive pole. So it's where he gives from. So it's so powerful to speak from the heart. And when you're speaking from your womb, you are actually invoking your receivership and you're invoking his providership,
Mm.
because it's where he gives from. Quite literally, right? If we think of procreation and the seed, and the woman receives, and then she's creating something from what she has been given. So if you can start to practice, like in the moments where maybe you really want to share something you believe about your partner, something you feel about your partner, and sharing it from your heart is so profound. And if that's where you can get to, and that's the deepest you can get to, it's already going to be such a massive shift. When you are sharing something that involves more of you on the receiving, if you can drop it down even to your solar plexus and a little bit deeper than that,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you can really invoke from him. Like this is rising up that happens where it's like he has to deliver. He feels it within himself. And what I really want to share here is he has to deliver, not because you are manipulating or demanding or commanding. It is because you are actually inviting him into his whole divinity, because you are in yours.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that point, because this, as I said, it's not a manipulation tactic. It's not because that when you speak from your womb, you're gonna get everything you've ever
Yeah.
wanted, and people are just gonna like drop everything they do, deliver life to you on a silver plate. It really is that deeper, profound, okay, I'm not just my mind, I'm not just speaking from my mind. I think that's the reason we have a body.
It
Let's
might
use
be.
it. So you say that this really is what is good when we communicate, you can say across the sexes, but
Yeah.
I guess you could also use it when you as a woman communicate to me as a woman. So tell me a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's really about deciding. So in all relationships, there can exist polarity. And the polarity can shift from moment to moment as well. Right. So like in this moment, let's say as I'm speaking, I'm a little bit more in my masculine pole. There's a little bit more of that giving, right? Same a lot of the times when I'm coaching and mentoring or teaching a class, there's this giving. Right. So in that moment, I'm more in my masculine pole. And you could, in this moment, let's say I'm speaking from my heart, I could be speaking also from my womb, and we don't have to overthink it, right? It's like feeling that I'm speaking from a deeper place within my body is really at the end of the day what I would love to share here. And you could be, a little bit more resting in your heart, or a little bit more resting in your womb. And so it's really not, even in a relationship of same sexes, you'll see that there's a polarity that happens where one person is, you can sense they are more in their feminine and one is more in their masculine. It's because we need that polarity for there to actually be an attraction and a push and a pull. That is the piece that creates like this chemistry and this dynamic and this dance
Hmm.
between two people.
Hmm. So let's cover, why can this be a challenge?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's go into that.
And I
So
just love that. So Diana is in human design a generator, so I know I just have to push a button, and then we're just going to hear her share her wisdom
I
and her
do
leadership.
love to be asked questions. Yeah, I love it so much. I'm like, you don't have to. When people ask me, can I send you the questions in advance? I'm like, please don't. Just surprise me. So why this can be challenging, we'll start with the fact that our society is so largely focused on the mind. And if, without getting like very granular, but just for a moment, the mind is actually a really simplified statement, because it's really the brain. The mind actually lives a lot within the body, and mostly within the body. It's in our cells, it's in our guts. So really it's our society where we're calling it mind. It's kind of more specifically the brain, like living up in the head. And that's where we've been encouraged to live, right? Even in
Hmm.
school, it was less like dropping into your emotions and less dropping into your intuition, and more of memorization and problem solving, which is so beautiful. Especially the problem solving, it's so necessary. We need it. It's there to serve a purpose. And so we've been so conditioned to live there, right? To, if you're full, you have to keep eating because the food is on your plate. So now I'm learning continuously to bypass my body and do this thing I've been told to do. So it is really and truly the conditioning of, I do not listen to my body. My body hurts, I still keep doing the same exercise. My body's tired, I do not listen to the fact that it needs to sleep, and I keep pushing forward and drinking more coffee, right? It's this productivity society that we are in, and we haven't really allowed the reverence or the acknowledgement of the depth of what the heart, the body has to speak to us. We are definitely swinging the pendulum to the other side, and we can see that there is more acknowledgement happening, and what an incredible thing.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Okay, so you can say that's on the societal level and all the conditioning we
Yeah,
have as to why we are stuck in the mind. But
yeah,
let's just say that people listen to this podcast and they're like, okay, so now I have the awareness, I can actually speak from a place that's not my mind.
yeah.
Why would it be difficult for me to, for instance, speak from my heart? Let's start with that one.
Well, it's a very vulnerable place to speak from. It's a really vulnerable place to speak from, and it is a whole other level of being seen. And without getting into too much around trauma, because I really don't love to focus there too much, is we have disassociated from our bodies because it's felt unsafe to feel. And most of us were not given a lot of space to feel and speak our truth without someone saying, that's not fair, or that hurts my feelings, or that's too much, that's too intense. So
You're not allowed to feel this.
you're
Stop,
not allowed
so
to stop
happy, stop
feeling
so
angry.
angry. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
feeling angry, exactly. And so it's been again conditioned within our own lifetime, but also passed down to us that it isn't safe to feel the whole depth of our emotions. And we also don't know, and this is a skill set I love to teach, is we don't know how to feel our emotions without getting consumed by them.
Mhm.
Unless we want to be it's really fun to be consumed by pleasure, really fun to be consumed by joy, which most of us actually still cannot allow ourselves to feel, right?
Yeah,
But
that's another convo for another day.
exactly, but those emotions like sadness and grief and guilt and shame are quite dense. So once we entertain them, we do tend to get taken down by them. And so it goes so deep. So now if you are experiencing, okay, I'm hearing this conversation, I would like to start speaking at least from my heart, but it's challenging. I really encourage you, like, even to practice, you've seen me do this so many times, to practice placing your hand on your heart.
Yeah, and what you guys can't see is that Diana's actually, as she's saying all this, she's rubbing her chest
Yeah,
so
I'm rubbing
beautifully
my
as
chest.
a way of connecting to that part of you. Like same
Yeah,
as if you want to feel your arm, you would rub it or you would pinch it or like, okay, this is my
exactly.
arm. I
Oh
know
yeah,
where my arm is.
exactly. I have an arm. Oh yeah, I have a heart. And I could speak from this place. And like in this moment, that's exactly where I'm speaking from. And even myself, there's moments in this conversation where I'm speaking from my head. And it happens because it's so strongly conditioned. And
And
that's
there's nothing wrong with it. We also have
absolutely
to
not.
say that it's just we don't just want to operate on that one frequency. We want to be able to play on all of them.
Exactly. Thank you so much for saying that. They are all part of the system, right? Like the other day, I was supporting a client and she was saying, I'm noticing myself, I'm getting everything I ever wanted, and my head's going, this and that, and what if, and I said, this is really not the space to be making your decisions from. You want to make it from your body. She's like, but I can't just disregard my head. I'm like, absolutely not. It is there to serve a purpose, and it is mainly there to say, you've made a decision from a deeper place in your body. Now the brain, the head comes in to say, now how do we execute? Right. So there's always a function. We don't want to also live with no heads. Like we want to connect all of them together. But back to, placing your hand on your heart. And even right now, if you could take a breath and imagine you were breathing from your heart. Like imagine the breath was coming, and this is a little easier to do to some degree because it's close enough to the lungs. Is like if you could feel the breath actually coming from your heart, and you could do like heart opening meditations and practice feeling, the expansion of your heart. Like if you were sending love out to, this conversation, then maybe to the people in your house, and maybe to the people on your street, the people in your neighborhood, the people in your city, the people in your country, the people around the world. And you're practicing this feeling of, oh, my heart can energetically, it's still going to be physically the same size, but energetically take up more space. And
Mm,
oh, there I have a heart.
yeah. So,
Mhm.
so a requirement you can say for actually being able to shift the frequency or the tonation in which you speak is, and to get to the heart is you actually have to reconnect to your heart. It's like you can't just turn on a switch and poof, I can do this. It's a matter of re-engaging with that relationship, with that
Re-engaging,
part of your body, basically.
re-engaging, and then you will see that sometimes you actually can just flip the switch because you've practiced enough times engaging with this part of your body that I'm like, oh, I
Eventually, yes.
exactly, like just literally now at this stage, placing my hand on my heart, I can get there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Because I also remember I told you I've been practicing this for a few months and saying the heart, not that's not difficult for me at all. But
yeah,
getting all the way to the womb is still a practice for me.
yes.
And let's talk about why is that
Yeah, oh my
difficult?
gosh, I have full chills as you're saying that. I'm like, because you are a giver, right? And this is part of your energy, and your heart is your positive pull, right? It is where you give from. And I too give like so much with my heart, and it's a beautiful thing, and it does not need to change. But like you said, we want to engage all of the centers. So it is the womb is the receiving. And so it says something about, oh, I feel more at ease giving than receiving.
Hmm.
And it's not a blanket statement or a, this is an absolute truth, because there are moments that receiving feels really nice and easeful, and then there are moments where it feels challenging. And like I said, in any given moment, we can be shifting the polarity between us in this conversation. So nothing is like a constant state.
Hmm. And here we're touching on one of the things that you preach the most, you can say, in your world and receivership. And I'm even afraid to open that Pandora's box because then we're gonna go on for ages. But really, let's just keep it at, so really connecting to your womb is, and that this is one of the things I talk a lot about in my world as well, because I'm also very body focused, is we have to connect to the womb, meaning, okay, so we actually need to learn how to just appreciate having a period, not to numb that part of ourselves,
I
to be
love that
able to
part.
pleasure ourselves.
Yeah,
And all of that is what eventually gets us to that state of being able to receive. But again, it's a matter of creating that reconnection first. So now
exactly.
we know that we have these three centers,
Yes.
but to actually use them, we need to
Yes.
build a bridge.
You need to build a bridge, and the bridge is really your practice, right? It's your practice of, you know, in my world, I'm like, you got to have at least a weekly practice of self pleasure, and that pleasure can look so different. When I'm bleeding, it looks like I'm caressing my arms and my legs, and I'm maybe caressing my neck, and whatever it is. Or if I feel too tender to go deeper into my womb space, then it's not going to look like entering there. It gets to look so different. But the bridge for me has always been the body, and the bridge has been touching the body, like connecting to your body, breathing into it,
Mhm,
dancing into it, moving into it beyond just, to get fit, which is excellent too. Um, touch, like with your touch, with even the vibration of your voice, like we could do I practiced this sound the other day, and I'll invite you even right now, if you want to do it with me right now. It's like, let's take a deep breath in, and on the exhale, woo, woo.
exactly. So you can feel the engagement in a different
You
part
can
of your
feel the
body.
vibration in your body. You can do some hip rolls. I mean, like I've always been very like since being a young child, I've always been very anything that kind of rubs against me. I'm like, ooh, there you are.
I like it.
Yeah. So, just a few hip rolls, I start to get turned on, and it's like, oh, that part.
Mm, yeah. So use the body to get into the body, which is
Yeah,
what we all say, but it's also what we all forget, because that beautiful mind starts telling all the stories. That's not necessary. It's gonna feel weird. I don't want to do it. There's gonna be an uncomfy period. I'm not into it. I'll just stay here, stay safe. No, no, no.
absolutely.
Magic is on the outside. So time is ticking, Diana, and we also have to talk a little bit about men.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, how do they work? Do they also have three centers to communicate from?
Listen, we technically all have the seven energy centers, right? Of the chakra system. We all
Mhm.
have those energy centers. And so everyone gets to practice. If a man was to practice speaking from his lingam, let's say, that space in his body deep beneath the belly button, he would very much be in his provider energy. Right? So he can absolutely practice from speaking from that place, and it has power. He could also practice speaking from his heart, right? Which would be, in that case, him switching into a little bit more of um, his receiving. So just how we spoke about, if he was wanting to receive something, for him it would actually be to be speaking more from his heart, like that vulnerability, that tender place.
Mhm.
Then again, there is the speaking of the mind, the intellect, right? The logic, and all of that is so attractive as well. There's such a moment in time for that. So I would invite to even just practice what it might feel like to speak from different depths within your body. And if you get too much in your head, which is the opposite of what we want to be doing when we're practicing this, then can you practice simply dropping the voice a little deeper than your throat,
Mhm.
right? A little deeper than your forehead, deeper than your throat. Maybe you can get into the heart. Maybe you can get into the solar plexus. Maybe you get into the sacral or the root energy, and just notice for yourself, how does it feel different to you? And I don't know about you, but one of the sexiest thing about a man's voice is like the deep
Oh, yeah.
vibration. Yeah, it's so hot. And so, the deeper you can go within your body, the deeper the resonance in your voice, which is also attractive within a woman as well. It's
Yeah.
quite attractive.
Yeah, it's so funny because I have a man in my one-on-one coaching currently, and we're doing something where he sends me a voice message every single morning, and it's right after he gets up. So he has that really sexy early morning voice, and I'm like, oh my god, your voice is so different.
So good. It's so
So
good. It's
fun.
one of my favorite things about Jack, his deep voice. It was like, oh yes, this I
Oh yeah.
this I like.
Okay, so anyone can do this. That's basically what
Anyone
you're
can do this.
saying. And I really feel what helps is touching that part of your body so you can actually so you can feel where the vibrations are coming from. Because of
Yeah,
course the words are still coming through your mouth,
yeah.
but like touching yourself in that area really,
And
really
if I
helps.
can say one thing that I think would be really supportive for men listening, is you might feel less connected to the idea of it being this sensual experience or this sensual voice, like it might feel for a woman. Again, I don't want to generalize for everybody, is to actually picture like a more of this grounding cord from your root down to the floor in a very grounded energy, like this stable,
Mhm,
strong, stoic energy.
mhm.
Hmm.
I think that will probably resonate more.
I think so too.
And also because a lot of men has been shamed for
Yes,
thinking with their dicks. So if we
yes,
all of a sudden say,
absolutely.
okay, now you actually get to talk from that area, what
Yeah,
does that mean? Okay, so I'm just curious. So how do you use this? You said you use it in your coaching, you use it in your relationship, but I also experienced you going onto stage earlier this year, and I know
yeah.
that was a stretchy moment for you.
Oh my
So
gosh,
just
I have chills. Yeah,
walk us through how did you use this awareness to get
yeah,
yourself on stage and speak
yeah.
from where you wanted to speak from?
Yeah, thank you for that question. It was terrifying. It was terrifying because I'd spoken at events so many times, but they were always cozy. They were cozy, small events without a big stage. And, I could see everybody's faces, but this was a really big stage with a lot of people in the room, a lot of people I respect, and people I know that hold really high standards as well. And so it was absolutely terrifying. And
You did
what
so well.
Thank you. And it was such a short talk as well, which to some degrees made it more challenging because you didn't have the time to really ground into the experience. Just as I was feeling grounded, it was over. But what it was for me was actually feeling my feet on the floor beneath me, which was so much of that, like, grounded, more root sacral energy. And I feel that likely even I was just watching it back. It's funny you bring it up because I was watching it back yesterday because I'm working with a speaking coach, and I would say that my voice was more dropped into my part. And I think there were moments where it fluctuated between all three. And it was really a matter of, I felt the fear and I could feel the nerves. You started this conversation by saying you felt some nerves. And to me, those nerves mean power. Those nerves mean this conversation, this thing that's about to happen holds power. It's stretching me beyond what I've done before. And that is a great thing. And so there was moments where even before getting to the event, I was standing in the mirror and I was witnessing myself feeling the fear. And I was imagining this fear fueling my mission and fueling my voice and fueling my message. And so it's a process of alchemy, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
turning fear into fuel. And I'm doing that through feeling it cycle into my body. And actually, it was almost like it was like this fire that was moving up. I didn't feel it so much in my womb, but more like heart and belly area. And it was almost like sparking my throat. It was like fueling the message. And then it was now we do the thing. We take a deep breath. We hold that mic. We feel our feet on the ground, and we allow.
Yeah, we allow, we deliver, we
Yeah,
hear.
yeah,
That's beautiful. So maybe if now I hopefully we have inspired some people to be like, oh, what is this? How can I
yeah,
speak from different centers of my body? Maybe
yeah,
don't start in the very nervous situations because that's
yeah,
next level skills, but
yeah.
just practice it when you speak day to day, when you ask someone to do something for you.
Yes.
Even if you're speaking to yourself in the mirror, if we speak from the mind, it'll probably be a lot of, not so nice words or a lot of judgment. But okay, so what can I say to myself when I speak from my heart, when I look into my own eyes in the mirror?
Yes.
So practice, 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 practice.
Yeah.
Are there
Prac-
anything, Diana, that you feel like, okay, this, I need to give people this tip before we close off?
Yeah, there if I think about what we delivered inside of the Like a Queen program, the thing that I would love to offer is that you don't actually need nearly as many words as you think you do. And typically when there are a lot of words, it is a representation of being more in the mind. And the body, when you let the body speak, you will notice that you can say less with more precision and more potency. And it actually has people leaning into you
Hmm.
to hear more. And that it creates the kind of dynamic most of us want to live in, where we feel like we're heard, people are interested, they're seeking after us, they want to know more about us. And it creates a little mystery.
It it definitely does. And then that also that really requires us to be able to build up that skill of being able to handle the silence, which is a thing in itself.
It's a thing in itself. And if you listen back to that last part, you'll see that that was exactly what I did. It was slow, it was precise, it wasn't too much, but you heard it. You got the point. You felt
Exactly.
it. Mhm.
Exactly. And that is the potency. I really think that that helps everything land, no matter if you speak from your mind or from your heart or from your womb.
Yeah.
Less words.
Less words, more resonance, more feeling in the words.
Hmm.
Feeling in the words.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so we could do this forever.
Good. I love
I
it.
I think we got the message through, and in honor of not too many words,
Yes.
I say we end it. So thank you so much for being here. It was, as I
You.
would be, a huge pleasure.
It was such a pleasure for me. Thank you so much.
And thank you everyone for tuning in. Stay tuned. There are multiple more podcasts coming. I have so many ideas. And if you're interested in anything about Diana, I'll leave some info to you in the show notes. She's a fucking peach. Go follow her. Thank you, everyone. And I hope I will see you soon.